I've got an important story about courageous people to investigate. They're not becoming complacent, not adopting normalcy bias, not bending a knee, and not backing down. They're the millions of brave souls who defied government prohibitions and commands and rallied in cities worldwide Saturday in favor of their rights to exercise free will and engage in voluntary interaction. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. From the Netherlands to Germany, from the United Kingdom to Canada, to Austria to Sweden to Australia and many other nations, March 20th, Saturday, was the momentous day when free people worldwide defied lockdowns, mask mandates, and silly 6-foot anti-social distancing commands, which thuggish police routinely break when arresting people who just want to be left alone. And they all marched and sang and smiled and laughed outside in the face of tyranny. Intrepid former BBC and ITV reporter, now head of Breeze Media, Anna Breeze, has been to numerous freedom rallies in England. And despite those being very remarkable, she took to Twitter numerous times Saturday to talk about the huge size and scope of the crowd and their awareness of the injustice being perpetrated by UK and international politicians and the police who side with the state rather than with the natural rights of man. At 10:43 Eastern US time, Ms. Breeze posted video of the London event, commenting, "This is by far the biggest UK protest I've seen. They will not be able to police these crowds. Hashtag right to protest, hashtag London protest, hashtag lockdown 2021. At 11:43, Ms. Breeze stressed the size of the gathering and acknowledged what many attendees in previous London lockdown protests had claimed, that the UK pop media had downplayed the size and significance of previous rallies. And she wrote, "If at LBC, at Sky News are saying hundreds, this is not true." Indeed, there was no denying the sheer size of the crowds in her videos, which clearly showed packed streets and sidewalks as far as the lens could see. A gathering so immense, anyone familiar with large crowds would be able to tell it numbered over 100,000 and might have run closer to 200,000 in London alone. Courageous post-millennial reporter American Andy No tweeted dramatic and enlightening video at 10:48 Eastern Daylight Time US, showing thousands of maskless rally goers packing a London street, flowing past the camera as if water in an urgent flood, with many holding one of numerous enormous banners seen among the crowd. And he quoted the words of the banner, writing, "Stop destroying our kids' lives. Huge crowd shuts down traffic in central hashtag London at anti-lockdown protest. The UK has been in strict lockdown since December." It sure has, contrary to the most fundamental human rights of free will and free association, all to supposedly flatten the curve that previous lockdowns didn't flatten, as it's been virtually in every other nation and in many states within the US. The UK government pulled a trick from the 1918 Soviet Executive Committee playbook and issued edicts saying certain commercial activities were essential and others non-essential. The government-run UK National Health System, NHS, canceled or postponed hundreds of thousands of elective procedures and checkups, including cancer screens, heart health checkups, and many more. They shut down public and private schools, despite the fact that numerous international sources acknowledge the extremely low risk of infection posed to or from children. Infection of a pathogen with an already high survivability rate, remember? And, as in many US states, they issued needless anti-social distancing and absurd mandates, and none of it showed any positive bearing on containing the so-called pandemic. Arrests, snooping, fines, police committing assault, unemployment, and all of this abject, utter, loathsome tyranny, while political hypocrites like Prime Minister Boris Johnson in the UK, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, French President Emmanuel Macron, Canadian PM Justin Trudeau, US President Joe Biden, and his perennial pal Dr. Anthony Fauci, Scotland's Chief Medical Officer Dr. Catherine Calderwood, leftist climate fearmonger John Kerry, U.S. Senator Tom Carper, Class Act Senator Nancy Pelosi, and by the way, they're both Democrats, he from Delaware, she from California, of course. Maine Governor Janet Mills, Democrat. Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo, Democrat. California Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat. Senator Raphael Warnock, Democrat of Georgia, and many, many more have flouted their own edicts and cultish mantras about believing their political version of the so-called science. They've gone maskless, hung out in big crowds, and traveled all over the place, while the lowly serfs across the globe are trapped by their globalist overlords and see their lives and livelihoods crushed. Heck, even Neil Ferguson, the high-profile UK doctor whose flawed COVID-19 spread estimates and personal recommendations prompted Boris Johnson to issue his lockdown mandate last year, even he was caught flouting his own pronouncements when it was discovered that he'd been breaking lockdown and seeing the married woman with whom he'd been having an affair. Citizens of the UK and other nations are not just angry. They're righteously angry, backed by natural rights, ethics, the scientific method, investigative journalism, and the inheritance of freedom they received from their ancestors. From the Netherlands, where thousands defied government water cannons to join one another in peace, to Germany, where demonstrators suffered baton strikes and arrests despite acting peacefully, to Sweden, where police cracked down and hauled peaceful people away, to Austria, where police also cracked down, to Australia, where, according to Rupley, protesters also signaled their fight against mandatory jabs. People are standing up for their rights and against the governments and corrupt international institutions that have stolen their liberty, even as they have stolen their money and the futures of their kids through taxation, government debt, and central bank money printing. As Aussie reporter Sam Pye Saturday tweeted when posting video of the rally in Melbourne, video, free to speak, free to breathe, pro-democracy protests in hashtag Melbourne, hashtag COVID-19, hashtag Paris, hashtag we will all be there, hashtag London, hashtag scamdemic, hashtag Castle, hashtag Berlin, hashtag Marche des Libertés. And as Twitter user Chatroom Chakra said when observing an elderly British man marching in London, quote, anti-lockdown protest in London right now. Get up, get your freedom back, burn your masks chants. It's good to see the old boys out and fighting. And as the members of the World Freedom Alliance note, people from all walks of life have had enough, and they will not be cowed. From musicians like Eric Clapton and Van Morrison to the Reverend Horton Heat and the Stone Roses' Ian Brown, whose anti-lockdown song Little Seed, Big Tree recently was banned by Spotify, to the people who've seen their churches closed, their shops ruined, their loved ones trapped in terrifying nursing homes with no chance of escape. For all of them, the spirit of liberty is indomitable. It burns within us as a God-given part of our existence. Old or young, more people are fighting, and this is just the start. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're watching on Rumble, thank you very much for finding us there, and please suggest that page to many people. We'll see you on Facebook, we'll see you on Twitter, and of course, at MRCTV.org. I'm Gardner Goldsmith, and a big suggestion for you, if you want to tweak some of the lefties out there, go to MRC-Store. Get some Media Research Center swag. It helps the MRC, and it gives you good stuff as well. Thank you for fighting for freedom. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.